you complain about it all the time. I can't bring my driving range success to the golf course. Why? Well, one of the reasons why is that when you hit on the range, this lie is dead flat. And you stand up here and you've been working on your swing and you've been watching all the videos and you're going, man, I got this all figured out. And you make this beautiful backswing, great rotation through, wonderful balance, everything's perfect. And the next thing you know, you go on the golf course and you go, wait a second, why doesn't this work? Because you don't know how to deal with uneven lies. So what I'm going to help you with today is all these uneven lies. Uphill lie, downhill lie, side hill lies, ball above, ball below. Okay? Now, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about what we've got going on over here. And you're going to get better, and they'll get better too. So, I've got this T-bar right here. Now, here's what I want you to imagine. Your spine, this right here, is always going to be perpendicular to the ground. Your shoulders here are always going to be parallel to the ground. And then, with ball position being an upper body thing, which we've talked about before, and you haven't had a chance to watch the ball position video, I recommend that you do that. It's not a lower body thing. Ball position is not a lower body thing. It's an upper body thing. We always want to make sure that the ball is positioned in the same spot in our upper body. So with my 6-iron, I want it. You can see this tee is getting right through my nose. My lead eye is just going to be on the forward side of this bar. I don't have it dead level yet. Yeah, whatever. And that's how I'm looking at this. So when I get set to hit my 6-iron, what I'm going to do is make sure that my eye is over the ball. Now from here, I'm in pretty good shape. Balance is pretty good. I can make a good swing. And as a result of making that swing, I get a very, very straight shot, kind of right at my target. Now what I want to do is I want to set an uphill lie. So we're going to set an uphill lie. So now you can tell I've got an uphill lie. Now, if I take this T-bar relative to that uphill lie that I have, you can see that it's slightly leaning backwards there. So what I want to do is I want to take my spine and get it to where it's slightly leaning backwards, or I'm leaning up the hill. Sorry, down the hill. I don't know what got into me there. My shoulders are going parallel to that slope. Now, the adjustment that I'm going to make here is this. I'm going to widen my stance. And no matter what the lie is that you have, you're always going to widen your stance. Ball below your feet, you're going to widen up. Ball above your feet, widen up. Widen up because you're now on an uneven surface, okay? And the wider your feet are, the better your platform is going to be, okay? So a little wider stance. Now, my golf ball is still going to be off of my left eye, but I'm going to feel like my lower body is leaning into that to brace. I don't want my lower body to be standard here because when I tilt my shoulders to the slope, my weight, my upper body weight is more back here. So I got to make sure that I've got some counterbalance. So I'm taking that lower body and I'm sending it up the hill there. So now, nice and balanced here, okay? And I make the strike. Now what you're going to see out of this golf ball is that it's going to twist to the left side, my left side, so to the pull side. And what that means is this. What we have to do is we have to aim for that. So when you have an uphill lie, you're going to aim slightly to the push side because you're going to get a ball that's going to draw more. But you've got to make sure that you throw your hips a little bit more forward with a wider base and then tilt those shoulders to the slope with the ball directly under your lead eye, again, with a 6-iron. And I'm just using 6-iron to hit this with, but if you were hitting a pitching wedge, it would be right under your nose. And if you've got a fairway wood, it's going to be forward. Now, what it's going to feel like to you is relative to your stance with an uphill lie, it's going to feel like it's slightly back because when you take your shoulders and you go like this, your upper body's going like that. It's falling away from it. So when you get in here, you might feel like that ball looks like it's in the middle of my stance if you're looking at the lower body. But when you pay attention to the upper body, now it's off of that eye, and now you're ready to go. Now, I want to show you the opposite. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift up the back side of this. We're going to drop the lead side of this, and now we're going to get a lie that's going to be a downhill lie. Okay, so now here we are. I've got a downhill lie. This is one of the hardest shots for you to hit. And the reason why is that if you're playing on a downhill lie and you don't have the low point of the golf club happening at the ball or after, you're going to hit the ground sooner. And when you do that, you're going to roll this ball. All right? Now, let me get my T-bar again. So when I put this on, you can see now that that's leaning forward. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to get my spine perpendicular to the lean of the property. So I now have the wide stance again. And now I'm taking my shoulders and I'm setting them to that slope. And when they get set to the slope, I feel like I'm leaning down the hill. And when I lean down the hill like this, now that golf ball is off of my ear. Now this is what you've been told so many times when you have a downhill lie. You're told move the ball back on a downhill lie. So I'm going to move the ball back. And then you're told, well, I want my shoulders to be parallel to the slope. So you get them parallel to the slope, and now you have the ball back off your right shoulder, and then you hit this shot like this. It comes out, literally, that one launched at 2 degrees. It's going to roll 120, 30, it rolls 35 yards. There's no green that's big enough to be able to hold that shot with an apex of 3 feet. I mean, that's a hard ball. Like, there's not a way in the world that ball is stopping. You are doing the exact opposite. I want you to take the ball and move it forward because your body is always going to tilt down the hill. So on this situation, when I tilt my upper body down the hill, I'm moving my upper body forward. I still want that ball off my lead eye, which means I got to move that ball position forward. So I get in here like this, wide stance, and now I'm leaning down the hill like this, and now the ball's under my right eye. So now I have my spine exactly the way I want, perpendicular to the tilted ground. So now I get in here like this, and I hit this. And now look at this shot. This is exactly at my target, almost the distance that I want. One bouncing in. I got an 84-foot apex, which I play at 60. I play at 90. So I almost got exactly what I normally play out of. That golf ball flew to that apex that I want. The descent angle's at 43. Everything was perfect, including the impact. Because I had the ball in the same place that I play it when I'm on a level lie, which is exactly what you're trying to do. So what you want to do is you want to go, okay, if I have a level eye, where's that ball position? Well, I got a pitching wedge. Okay, it's under my nose. Oh, I got a 6-iron. It's under my eye. Oh, I got a hybrid. Okay, that one's going to be sort of on my ear. Okay, and then you adjust your body, wide stance, down the hill or down the hill, whatever it is, and then make sure the ball's in that right spot. So I've got a downhill lie. I widen my stance. I go down the hill. I get that ball under my eye. I'm leaning down here. I want to make sure I stay there with my lower body. Make that same rotation. Another good strike. Was it like the last one? No. Was it very good? Yes. And that's how you're going to play that downhill lie. Now, we got to deal with the lies where the ball's above the feet and below the feet. So we're going to level this thing out, and then we're going to tilt this up so I've got a lie where the ball's above my feet. So let's wait. There you go. Good. Okay. So now, and I think Gibbsy, if you show me a down the line view here, what you're going to be able to see is you're going to see that tilt of that there. So now I've got a ball that is tilted down. Watch, I'm going to just, I'm going to hit this ball, and you're going to see it roll down the hill. I'll do it again just so you know that I got a side hill lie there. You see it turn down there. So now, what has happened now? Okay, so when I have a level lie, I have a distance from my sternum to the golf ball. Maybe it's 3 feet, maybe it's 4 feet, maybe it's 5 feet. Everybody's different. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create that same relationship. Well, I can't. Why can't you? Because the property now has gone from this to this. So this is now closer to my sternum than when it's here. So that means I've got to make up for some of this space. I got to get it back. So what I got to do within reason is take my normal bend and stand up, and then I'm going to grip down on the club a little bit. So I'm going to stand a little closer to this. So now I'm in a pretty good situation. Now, here's the part that's hard to comprehend. When I have this like this, even though the club itself is parallel to the property, it's still left of the target. So when I hit this shot from here, that ball is going to go out, and it's going to have a little bit of draw to it. And you can see that thing twisting over to the left-hand side. So that means that when I have this shot, I need to aim a little to the push side, which is exactly what I want to try to do. So when you aim to the push side. The other thing is this. When I take my spine and I stand up straighter like this, so I go from here to here, my shoulders now turn flatter. So instead of my shoulders turning on this plane, they turn on this plane. And when they turn flatter, my hands get more around me. So instead of my hands being up here, they're going to be down here, which is going to close the club face. It's going to give you some depth in your hands and allow the club to come from the inside, which for those of you that slice, this is your favorite side hill lie. You actually hit this shot straight. It should draw, but you hit it straight. So, as a result of this, I want you to make one slight alteration. Face on here, Gibbsy. I want you to just move that ball back of your stance just a little bit, okay? Because the low point is going to get moved back because your shoulders are turning a little bit flatter. Okay, so you get in here, you move the ball back just a little bit. We grip down, stand a little taller, and we're aiming out to the push side now. And now we go. So there you go. It starts out to the right. It's got a little bit of turn to it. That's how you play that shot. Now, that's one of the easier ones. The ball above your feet. Now we got to deal with the last one, the hardest one, the ball below your feet. So, let's go. Okay, so now we've got the ball below our feet. So now that distance from my sternum to the golf ball has increased. And what you can see, if we go down the line and I hit this, is that that is trickling down the hill right there. Okay? Now this one is really hard for you. You don't know what to do to accommodate yourself to the lie. Well, now what you have to do is you got to get shorter. So when the ball's above your feet, we got to get a little taller. We stand up. That's easy to do. We just don't bend over quite so much. But now what we got to do is we got to figure out, well, how am I going to get to that ball? Well, we got to bend over. I agree. But we got to get shorter. So what do we do to get shorter? Wider stance. So I'm wide. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of knee flex here. So I get wider. I get some knee flex. I don't grip down this time. Ball position now in the same spot off the left eye. But I've got more knee flex. And now I go. And what you can see is that golf ball is just twisting over to the right-hand side. It also came up quite a bit short. Now, how do we accommodate ourselves for that? Well, if I have a 175-yard shot, that one there might have gone 170. And so I might hit one more club when I'm in this situation. A lot depends on where the hole location is. So if I have a middle hole location, I'm probably going to hit my 6-iron. If I have a back hole location at 175, I don't want it to go past the flag. I'm probably going to stick with that 6-iron. But if I have a front hole location, I'm going to hit 5-iron because I don't want to come up short there. Okay, so you have a middle it's up to you. Probably going to be the club that you hit. Don't be surprised if you come up short. You have a back hole location. You don't want to hit more club because you don't want to get past that flag, and sometimes that can happen. So you make sure you play underneath it. But if you've got a front hole location, you're going to get more clubs. So you're going to hit 5-iron instead of 6-iron, okay? But again, the reason why it comes up short is this. When you bend over, knees bent, hip bent, you lock down the lower body. And when that lower body gets locked down, the swing is going to get shorter because you can't make the rotation that you're going to make. You don't have the freedom. And so in order for you to allow for that, you might get a little bit more club, okay? So you know it's going to come up short. Ball position, the exact same spot. I've lowered myself, so I got the exact same distance. Now we're going to aim out to the left-hand side just a little bit. And I just pushed that one just a little bit. Again, what you'll see is that one turned to the right, and that also comes up a little bit short. That is how you're going to play when the ball is below your feet. And those ideas that I've shared with you are how you're going to overcome these uneven lies. Once you really understand and get comfortable with uneven lies, your practice on the range will make the transition to the golf course. Because you have to realize that when you're hitting irons in particular, you don't really find this situation happening with the driver or when you hit a tee shot. But when you're in the fairway, it's a free-for-all. And so what you need to appreciate and understand is that when you have uneven lies, you got to make accommodations. If you're not making accommodations, you're not going to make a good golf swing. And then what ends up happening to you is when you make a bad swing from an uncomfortable lie, like ball below your feet, you start blaming yourself and your bad swing, instead of blaming it on, I don't really understand how to deal with uneven lies. This is a video, I promise you, you want to watch this several times. Because when you start to understand what goes on here, when you do that, now that transition happens and you're going to become a much better golfer. To improve all parts of your game, subscribe to my channel and click the link below.